Well, would you look at that? Another Sean Strickland fight week where the peak of his performance is what he says on media day and at the press conference. Another Sean Strickland fight week where we're promised war and we're given a skirmish at best. I'm not kidding. Of their 3 fights, my favorite so far is still the one they had in the crowd. Now, let me preface this. I want to say this right out of the gate. Sean is an exceptionally good fighter. What I'm about to say is in no way meant to disrespect his ability. He is a world-class fighter. He is a former champion for a reason. He can win fights against any of the top guys, but he is not the fighter he is selling himself as, and man, is he selling. All he does is sell these days. In fact, it's the #1 aspect of his game at this point because it's not what happens on Saturday nights. Sean is more famous for being an edgelord now than he is for his performances in the cage. Truly, if he never walked into the octagon again and just started a podcast, maybe he already has one, I don't know, he'd be set for the rest of his life. Doesn't need to do anything else related to fighting. And, you know, if that's the route you want to go, hey, go for it. That's your thing. But when your job is being a fighter, there has got to be more to it. You can't come into your 3rd fight week in a row promising mayhem and destruction and yet again deliver the occasional really crisp jab and front kick while being defensively minded and hard to hit on your way to a decision loss. His coach has talked about how bad optics in their fights have hurt Sean on the scorecards. 2 decisions now to DDP, the second last night, not even a question, and that split decision over Costa. And his coach is right. It looks optically bad to the judges, but it's also really boring to watch as a fan. I have no desire to watch a Sean Strickland fight that is 5 rounds and costs $80 ever again. There is nothing I've seen in his last 3 fights that would indicate to me that I'm going to be entertained. And I already know what I'm going to hear. But this, but that, but staff, but DDP is awkward, but Paulo got walked down all fight, but. It's always excuses and justifications as to why the fight he sells is not the fight he delivers. And people are also gonna say, but that's the fight game. Don't you know you gotta sell fights, dumbass? Yeah, and some people sell them a lot harder than others, and if you're gonna go that hard, you have to deliver. It is go big or go home when you put it out there like that. Sean spends all of fight week being a 4chan message board come to life, so the Australian media are all up in arms, putting him on the cover of papers. Somebody knock this guy out. Somebody think of the children. You got the UFC retweeting it. Big bad enemy #1. He's walking out to Civil War hymns. And then that's the fight we get? That's the big climax at the end of this? The disconnect is too large. You got Dana talking about people spending money to see Bryce Mitchell get knocked out. How about good fights? How about I want to pay 80 of my hard-earned dollars to watch good fights? I don't give a fuck about Bryce Mitchell. Max Holloway delivers maximum ticket value almost every damn time. Justin Gaethje, Charlie Olives. Those guys are doing the fights that Sean Strickland talks about. Sean being an edgelord doesn't make his fights worth my cash. Bryce Mitchell saying crazy shit and then getting knocked out doesn't make these fights worth my cash. If you're gonna talk all this shit and the UFC is gonna market the fuck out of you over it, you better have something more to deliver than just words. Chael Sonnen is such a great example. Talked an insane game. In 2010, people were shook up bad. I mean, they couldn't believe the level of disrespect. But then what did he do? He went out and had a legendary fight with Anderson Silva. Shit, even Colby Covington. Those fights with Usman were bangers. The problem, though, if you're gonna go that route, is that you pretty much have to back it up every single time. You have to bat 1,000 when it comes to delivering the type of fight that you are selling. You don't always have to win, but if you're selling war, it better be war. Because otherwise, you look like a cartoon character. You look silly. It happened to Colby. I hate saying this, but eventually it happened to Chael. It happened to Conor. I mean, look at the drop off there. It can happen in just a single fight. When Izzy came out with that urn and dressed like the Undertaker and then fought a very sound and relatively safe fight, earning a decision victory. You can't invoke the Undertaker and then give me Gilbert. And that is what has happened with Sean Strickland. Whoever he fights next, I'm gonna go ahead and guess it's a Fight Night main event or a major pay-per-view undercard, and it is going to be the same song and dance. Oh my God, did you hear what Sean said? People can't say that. 57 articles from the MMA media about Strickland quotes, and then we get to the press conference, and the crowd is eating out of the palm of his hands, and he tells them, hey guys, I'm gonna fucking go out there, man. I'm gonna fucking die for you, dude. You guys are gonna fucking bleed. We're gonna bleed so much. It's gonna be fucking war. No, it's not, Sean. No, it's not. It's not gonna be that. How many times in a row is that gonna happen before fans realize that it's just not the case? I'm tired of edgelord marketing and then not delivering on the fight. The juice is just not there for me as a fan. I don't get all hyped up because somebody said some crazy shit. Everybody's saying crazy shit these days, guys. It's not special anymore. And if it doesn't translate to the cage, I don't give a single fuck. And if that works for you, that's great. Enjoy. You are eating well right now. But I want to see some goddamn good fights. But Tommy, what are they supposed to do? They're supposed to lose? They're supposed to fight the way you want them to fight? No. Always fight optimally. Always fight to win. But don't pretend your style of fighting is something it's not. And if the only way you can get people fired up is by talking wild, eventually you're going to end up right where Sean is right now. Sean is the MMA equivalent of Ludo narrative dissonance, where like a video game story doesn't line up with the gameplay at all. Sean's cutscenes are Trevor from GTA 5, and then the gameplay is like Lester. And again, I know I'm talking crazy shit, but I'm not actually talking about him as a fighter. He is a great fighter, but what he's selling and what he delivers are vastly different products. All right, enough ranting about Sean. What's next for DDP? My hope is that it's Hamzat. We gotta see that story arc play out. However it's gonna play out. I know he called out Poetan. I'm not particularly interested in that, but I'm not gonna say no if it happens. Hamzat, though, is the question mark that's hung over middleweight for a while now, and it is time to answer that question. DDP, you awkward son of a bitch, you've won me over with this championship reign. I think the Chimaev fight would be a massive one. The other big winner last night was Zhang Weili. What a freaking performance. I will be entirely honest. I fully bought into Tatiana Suarez. I thought she was 115's Hamzat. I thought she was gonna be a reckoning, and it was gonna start with her railroading Zhang. I was the wrongest I've been about anything. That is the type of win that really solidifies a championship reign. I mean, the threat could not have been higher in terms of perception, and her performance could not have been any better. Absolutely massive victory. All right, before we wrap this up though, and you should always wrap it up, let's break down 312 hard by the numbers. There were 12 fights last night with 2 KO TKOs, 1 sub, and 9 decisions for a total cage time of exactly 2 hours and 48 minutes. Only 6 favorites won last night, but dogs did not break even since there was a draw, so dogs only got 5. I gotta point this out because it's always the case if a fight goes to a draw, a plus 6,600 outcome, which is what we got between Crute and Tractor. Crazy. Speaking of, Crute has now had 2 draws in his last 3 fights. That is nuts. If he ends up getting another rematch, I hope it goes better than the one he had following his draw with Alonzo Menifield. Jake Matthews has now landed in the ballpark of 60 significant strikes in 7 different UFC decision victories, earning him our Life Begins at 60 award. Taliesin Teixeira's big debut victory is the fastest finish of any Tafa in the UFC at 35 seconds. Heck of a start for the big man. That was Weili's 8th title fight in the strawweight division, which ties her with Joanna Legend for the most all-time at 115. That's pretty damn cool. And finally, how about this random-ass stat? Dricus Du Plessis is the only champion in UFC history to win 2 title fights that took place in Australia, earning him our Good On Ya Mate award. And damn it, guys, that was UFC 312. We autopsied the shit out of it. You gotta let me know in the comments what you thought about the card, what you thought about my rant on Strickland. Genuinely, whether you agree or not, I don't care. I'd love to hear it. I want to read it. I do read it, and I might even reply if I'm feeling froggy. Just look for the Tommy Toehold name. That's me if it goes to my YouTube channel. If not, it's an imposter. Speaking of YouTube channels that are awesome, Combat Arcade, made by the always incredible editor of these autopsies, Max Randall. Thank you, sir, for your services. Go follow him wherever he may go. A massive thanks to our channel members for their support. Fight fans, we've got a whole new system with this thing. You get early videos among other perks. It's pretty damn cool. Go check it out. Thank you guys for watching. Like and subscribe because we do these after every single pay-per-view. Hope you had a good time. Catch you later, Bill and Ted.